Coming up this morning on DITV, follow-up. We have an update from Monday night's fired gunshot.
And later on, reception night. We take a look at last night's ceremony at the UI's College of Medicine.
We have your recap from the Iowa women's basketball game last night against Iowa State.
And we have awards in both swimming and diving and football to announce.
We have an update on big wildfires in California too. I will tell you more in weather.
All that and more headed your way.
Stay right where you are. DITV starts now.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us this morning. I'm Sydney Zatz.
And I'm Christopher Cervantes.
We have an update from the reports of fired gunshots on Monday afternoon. 5 men and 1 minor were charged with interference with official acts. Police were called Monday night with reports of shots being fired at the intersection of Lakeside Drive and Amber Lane. All 5 men and the minor fled the scene and are now charged. No one was injured during the incident. However, it was discovered yesterday that several of the men involved had previous arrest warrants. Stick with DITV as this story develops.
A new mental health and substance abuse center is being introduced in Iowa City, and the plans are coming along faster than expected. The idea for the center has been discussed for the past 2 years, but advancements are taking place after the county announced it is being added to the 2019 budget. Jessica Peckover, the Johnson County Jail's alternative administrator, told us the new center will include, quote, a variety of services including a sobering unit, crisis observation, crisis stabilization, and detoxification, as well as a permanent place to have the winter low barrier shelter, end quote. Other Iowa City officials showed support for a new crisis center, stating it's a helpful alternative for the community. You can read more about this in today's edition of the paper, where Daily Iowan reporter Kaylee Reese goes more in depth.
The UI's College of Medicine gained a new dean. J. Brooks Jackson started his new position last week, along with being the Vice President of Medical Affairs. Jackson was a former Vice President for Health Affairs and Dean of the Medical School at the University of Minnesota. Before that, he served as a pathologist at the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine. To celebrate his new role, University of Iowa President Bruce Harold held a reception in the press box at Kinnick Stadium on Wednesday evening. Here, the public and UI healthcare staff was able to meet and mingle with the public. President Harold praised Jackson for his past experience and expressed how excited he is to see what he brings to his new role.
After a generous donation, the University of Iowa's Art Museum officially has a new name. The Art Museum will be called the University of Iowa Stanley Museum of Art. It is being named after Dick and Mary Jo Stanley, both pictured to the left, a couple from Muscatine, Iowa, who yesterday announced they will commit $10 million to the upcoming project. All of the UI's artwork was relocated after the original building was damaged in the 2008 flood. Construction on the new Stanley building is expected to start next year and to be completed by the year 2020. Sydney, it's so great to see such good fortune come to Iowa City. However, I wish I could say the same thing for my home state.
That's right, Chris. I know there are a lot of wildfires going on in California right now, and you said you're actually about hour and a half away from the area.
And Sydney, that is just far too close for comfort.
Oh, I'm sure, Chris. Let's toss over Jin-Yuk Kim in the weather studio to see what updates we have from California. Jin-Yuk?
Thanks, guys. We have talked about wildfires back in October. Unfortunately, wildfires are threatening Southern California towns again. These disastrous wildfires have burned at least more than 100,000 acres. Tens of thousands of residents are leaving their place to escape from the deadly wildfires. This is not just one main wildfire happening in one area. Several big wildfires are destroying homes in several regions, like Ventura, Los Angeles, and Bel Air. More than 4,000 firefighters and other first responders are putting efforts across the region to save lives, protect homes, and evacuate residents. I hope and believe they will definitely stop the wildfires and get back to normal life as soon as possible. Whereas in Iowa City, cold weather came back from Tuesday, and it is getting colder and colder. As you could see, brief light snowing last night. This afternoon, we are seeing sunny skies with 31 degrees. Tonight will be cold as well, with temperatures dropping down to 19 degrees. Tomorrow morning's weather will be similar to tonight, as temperatures will reach 20 degrees. Now let's take a look at our extended forecast. Highest degrees on Friday will reach 40 degrees with partly cloudy skies. On Saturday, temperatures will drop down to high of 33 and low of 17 degrees with sunny skies. Some clouds will cover skies on Sunday, but temperatures will rise to high of 44 and low of 29 degrees. Temperatures and weather on Monday will be similar to Sunday as temperatures will reach to high of 41 and low of 16 degrees with cloudy skies. We are coming back to colder weather on Tuesday as high temperature will fall below 30 degrees, reaching high of 28 and low of 19 degrees. Temperatures will stay around between high 20s and high 30s. You should not get cold with this information. Maintain adequate condition for doing well in finals. That's your weather for the week. Chris and Sydney, back to you.
Thanks, Jingyuk. The U.S. Student for Human Rights hosted a new art exhibit with a unique look at the human experience. DITV reporter Lauren Varel has more.
The UI Students for Human Rights hosted an event yesterday showcasing various photos they collected from various student organizations and community members on campus. The photos were collected to showcase why Iowa City is an important place to them.
So some of the photos, they kind of range from like pictures of flowers and nature, kind of showcasing the beauty of Iowa City, to work that student orgs on campus have done. So it's really cool.
The goal of this event was to allow various student organizations to get to know each other and display their work.
We were just kind of brainstorming in the beginning of the semester. We wanted to do something kind of pertaining to the arts, a little bit more creative, but also incorporate different student orgs on campus as well.
This year was the first time the event happened and is hoped to continue for years to come.
It's nice to come together and eat good food, and it's a stressful time at the end of the semester, so it's definitely de-stressing and a relaxing event. I'm having a good time.
Everyone is encouraged to send photos to @WhatYouSeeAndISee on Instagram. Reporting from the University of Iowa LGBTQ Resource Center, I'm Lauren Varel, Daily Iowan TV.
Well, Chris, it does look very interesting, and I know with finals we could all use a little bit of a study break.
Personally, Sydney, I think it's a triumph, but we're Hawkeyes. We always triumph. And speaking of, I heard we have some interesting news in women's basketball.
That's right. Let's toss it over to Taylor and Will in the sports studio to see what we have going on in the Hawkeye sports world. Guys, take it away.
Thanks, guys. Speaking of triumph, this week is Cy-Hawk week, and I know that for the Iowa teams, it is especially important to get that victory.
Yeah, talking to coaches in the fall and especially now in the winter, it means so much just to get this out-of-conference win.
I agree, Will. Well, speaking of, the women's basketball team took on Iowa State last night in Ames and beat the Cyclones 61-55. This marks Iowa's first win in Ames since December 17th in 1989. And now the Hawkeyes improved to 26-22 all-time against the Cyclones.
This win also gives the Hawkeyes a 7-6 advantage in the 2017-2018 Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk series.
Both Megan Gustafson and Mackenzie Myers scored in double digits, with Meyer having 18 and Gustafson with 16. Junior Hannah Stewart registered a career high with 12 rebounds.
And speaking of Megan Gustafson, Taylor, she had her 9th double-double of the season, and it was her 36th double-double of her career. Coach Bluter and the team will hold a press conference later today with more on their weekend matchup with Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Well, the Iowa men's basketball team takes on their in-state rivals tonight, the Iowa State Cyclones in Ames. Iowa State currently sits at 5-2, while Iowa is 4-5. Here's what the guys have to say on hopefully getting back to winning after losing their last 3 games.
Well, I think we'll be able to, put the game plan together. It was a little harder when you have a 1-day prep, which we just went through. A 2-day prep is typically a minimum of what we have. Sometimes it's 3, but 2 days is enough time to process information and get yourselves ready. We just have to be more consistent with what we're doing, and I think that's probably more important than what we're worried about them doing.
It's going to be a big game, good game to bounce back on. We're looking forward to playing these guys. Obviously a rival game, big game for the state, so we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, obviously it's going to be a huge task for us to go there and play at an unreal arena, and obviously they have a huge fan base there, so it should be a lot of fun, and it should be a great test for us, and we're looking forward to it. I think just being consistent for 40 minutes. A lot of it has to do with me, obviously, to just handle pressure a little better and limit my turnovers. And I feel like we get a lot of possessions back if I limit my turnovers, and it'll be a lot of different games going forward. So that's something I need to do individually, and just being consistent on the defensive end as a team for 40 minutes will be huge for us.
The Hawkeyes and the Cyclones will tip off at 7 p.m. in Ames, and the game will be broadcasted on ESPN2. Tune in tomorrow for updates from the game from our very own Mary-Kate Aaron.
University of Iowa senior linebacker Josie Jewell and junior defensive back Josh Jackson have been named first team All-Big Ten by the Associated Press. Jewell was also named the Associated Press Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. In addition to Jewell and Jackson, senior offensive lineman Sean Welsh was named second team offense by the panel of 25 writers and broadcasters throughout the Big Ten.
Jewell is the third Hawkeye in program history to have 3 seasons with at least 115 tackles. Jewell has led the team in tackles in each of the last 2 seasons. Jewell has 426 career tackles, 5th all-time in program history.
Jackson tied Iowa's school record with 2 interception returns for touchdowns at Wisconsin, covering 43 and 52 yards. The previous week, Jackson tied Iowa's school record with 3 interceptions in Iowa's 55-24 win over number 3 Ohio State. Jackson also had a forced fumble at Wisconsin and a blocked field goal in a win over North Texas. He has started all 12 games this season and recorded 47 tackles. Jackson is a finalist for the Jim Thorpe Award, and it was named First Team All-American by College Sports Madness.
Josie Jewell and Josh Jackson were named to the 2017 Walter Camp All-American First Team by the Walter Camp Foundation. This is the 4th straight year Iowa has had a Walter Camp All-American and 3rd time in 4 years that a player was named to the first team. It is also the first time in program history Iowa has had 2 defensive players named to the first team, and the 3rd time that Iowa has had multiple Walter Camp All-Americans.
University of Iowa breaststroker Daniel Swainpoel has been named the Big Ten Freshman of the Week. The Cape Town African native earned the distinction after swimming to 3 career bests and 3 NCAA B qualifying times at the Minnesota Invitational. Swainpoel finished 2nd overall in the 100 breast and the 200 breast. The Iowa men's swimming and diving team returns to action January 12th and 13th, hosting Notre Dame at the Campus Rec and Wellness Center here in Iowa City.
I'm sure our sports director Mary-Kate is very excited about that, to see her Irish coming to town.
Well, we all know how big of a Notre Dame fan that she is. Well, to end the show, we have one last award to announce. Being a student athlete is extremely challenging, but Iowa student athletes always seem to make it look easy, especially with coaches pushing the Iowa motto: win, graduate, and do it right. Yesterday, the Big Ten Conference announced the fall academic All-Big Ten team.
90 University of Iowa student athletes were named to the list. This list includes 41 players from the football team, 15 from the soccer team, 14 from the women's cross-country team, 9 from the women's field hockey team, and 6 from the men's cross-country team, and 5 more from the women's volleyball team.
In order to be eligible for academic All-Big Ten selection, students must be on a varsity team, as verified being on the official squad list as of November 1st for fall sports, and who have been enrolled full-time at the institution for a minimum of 12 months and carry a cumulative grade point average of 3.0 or higher.
Congratulations to all the athletes in the Big Ten that were awarded this special honor, and keep up the good work both on the field or court, but especially in the classroom. And also good luck to everyone who has finals coming up this week or next week.
Tune in tomorrow for an update from Mary-Kate Aaron on Iowa's basketball season so far.
And we will hear from the women's basketball team about their Saturday matchup. Guys, back to you.
All right, everyone, that brings this Thursday morning newscast to an end. For even more of the latest news, be sure to check us out online at dailyiowan.com.
And if you happen to be walking around town today, don't forget to grab a paper copy of the Daily Iowan on stands now. For DITV, I'm Sydney Zatz.
And I'm Christopher Cervantes.
From all of us here at DITV, have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you back here next time.